What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Album of the week, patron selects, whatever you want to call it. We're definitely not doing these weekly. They're practically monthly by now. Uh, but we are trying to get caught up. I think we're like 6 or 7 weeks behind what the Discord is, something like that.
Sure.
This week or today, we are talking about a record called Home by the band Oil on Canvas from 1992. I think they were on Rough Trade. They're a German band, and there is almost no information about them online anywhere. I think this is the first album we've done without a Wikipedia page. I don't think the band even has a Wikipedia page. There is an entry for them on AllMusic, but none of their three albums have any critic or user scores. So pretty obscure here. This was delivered by Nikos, I believe, is his pick. And for his little write up about it made it seem like if people that don't know, Nikos listens to more music than anyone.
God. More
Dwarfs
music than God.
dwarfs my numbers. Uh, and almost anyone's. But his taste is probably, I guess you could say, a little more esoteric than ours. And this feels like he went for something that he thought would fit us at least a little bit. And I guess we'll see if he did or not. And so get into the record. The songwriting.
Well, the real note I have about this, and it sort of overwhelmed everything else, was how much this band sounded like Midnight Oil. And that sort of just overtook everything that I tried to listen. Um, And it's just, I mean, the lead singer, which I don't know his name because it's impossible to even Google this band because if you search for Home Oil on Canvas, all you get is a bunch of like oil paintings and like canvas trying to, Google shopping. You can't find anything on this band. So all I can say is they sound a lot like Midnight Oil. The lead singer sounds like Peter Garrett to a T. But saying that, the songwriting, interesting. I will say it's interesting and interesting, kind of like Midnight Oil was. A little bit folky, a little jazzy, but not like Bob Dylan folk or Fairport Convention folk. Like I know they're German, but it was very reminiscent of like Australian or I don't know, maybe South African folk music. Like I didn't get any German out of it, and I didn't get like the things you would think would come from a German band. So it was very kind of disconcerting to listen to them. The songwriting is interesting. It's not quite mainstream sounding, but it has mainstream elements. Like it sounds like a well-produced early 90s sound. Like it has that very early 90s acoustic guitar sound and some jazzy bits and some interesting, they're trying to like stretch out and do things that aren't just what everyone else was doing. But I don't know. I don't know how to like differentiate what they were doing from like anybody else other than there's some jazzy parts, like the song Nude, which is basically a formless jazz odyssey with like a politely brushed drum solo. And, they got stand-up bass. So it's a folky sound, acoustic guitar, stand-up bass, some shots of electric guitar, some other kind of interesting instruments pop in and out, but I don't know, I just didn't get a whole lot of like stuff that stuck in my mind from their songwriting. It felt like Midnight Oil to me. The songwriting, the sounds, everything, and I couldn't pick like anything else other than that to compare them to.
Well, I agree about Midnight Oil, and I have that same note. But I don't think the whole band sounds like Midnight Oil. The vocals for sure. I think the band sounds like a different band, but I'll bring that up when we get to musicianship so that I have something to say for that section. The songwriting, this record is like the most 90s to me. It sounds like everything about it is so 90s. I do think it's a little ahead of its time. Like I wouldn't guess 92. I'd probably guess like 95, 96, mainly because of how acoustic it is. It has that like post-grunge, like I don't know, when all the bands got a little quieter and your Counting Crows and your Hootie and the Blowfish and like all these like college type bands in the US that were doing like alternative rock, but a bit softer. I'm really torn on this record. The first time I listened to it, I did not like it very much at all. The second time, it started to feel a little more interesting to me, and I felt like the songwriting was at least uh, less predictable. I think the first time through, I was like so caught up on the things that it sounded like that I kind of like rejected it. And then a second listen, I was like, well, I guess the lyrics are kind of interesting and some of the arrangement things are kind of cool. So maybe more listens would open me up to it even more. But the thing that the first listen through, the thing that I really felt was like it has this little bit of an air of like thinking that it's more interesting than it is, which is how I feel about most of the 90s as a decade. And yeah, it's just I don't know, for kind of like pretty straight ahead, not like that experimental. Like it feels like it thinks it's super cool because they're using kind of jazzy chords in places and an upright bass and look how cool we are. Uh, and that's totally, I mean, maybe not, but that's kind of just what I was picking up.
It felt a little pretentious. Say it. Just say it.
The musicianship.
Good, fine musicianship. I like the stand-up bass work a lot. Some cool jazzy stuff in there. Like the drumming. Good drumming again, very jazz influenced. A little it gets a little spacey, it's a little post-rocky a couple times. I could definitely hear some like talk influence in there as well, not just Midnight Oil and whatever else I'm hearing. Some post-rock, some talk, and whatever jazz. I don't know who they crib their jazziness from, maybe talk, but definitely some jazz and I don't know, Midnight Oil and I don't love that acoustic sound, like the acoustic guitar sound. It just dates it so horribly, and it just doesn't sound good. I guess it's the direct in acoustic guitar instead of like miking it. So that was a bad sound. Kind of killed acoustic guitars in the whole decade, really.
So yeah, if in this section I have written, the voice sounds like the guy from Midnight Oil. He has like all the same like vocal eccentricities, and to me, the band just sounds like Rusted Root. It sounds like the guy from Midnight Oil fronting Rusted Root. That is what
There
this
you
record
go.
sounds like to me. So yeah, very acoustic centric. They do some cool stuff with different like instruments and arrangement things, and you could maybe say that's musicianship, or you could put that under production for choosing to do those things. But yeah, all the playing's fine. No real issue with any of it. Production.
They shouldn't have direct in the acoustic guitars. I can tell you that. Other than that, it kind of just sounds like I don't know. I didn't get like ahead of the curve like you did, but I'm not that learned in the 90s. I kind of ignored most of it, so I could be wrong about that. Could be well ahead of its time.
I just put that I think they do a good job of like keeping their minimal sound interesting, and I think they do that by, there's accordion on a bunch of tracks, there's some trumpet, there's upright bass through most of it. There's one song that has like talk box, oddly. So I think they do a good job of like taking a very simple and, could have been extremely boring, and at least making it, hold your attention for the runtime of the album. Best and worst track.
I don't know what the best track is, to be honest with you. I like the talk box one. That's Stop. That might be my favorite overall. Least favorite, I didn't like Ah La La La. I hated the vocal work on that one.
I have best as Wanna Take You, and worst I have Hip Hip Hooray, which had those like all, like semi-operatic female
Oh, yeah, we didn't
backing.
mention the female vocals. I forgot about that. I would have just removed that completely. The female vocalist added nothing, and the operatic song, that whatever that song was, that was the worst.
Yeah. Score.
I'd probably go two, maybe I guess 3 stars. I'll go a light three.
That is where I am as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can kind of see why Nico's picked this, but
Kind of jazzy.
it's like almost. what I like, but not quite. All right. Well, yeah, if you go seek this out and check it out, let us know what you think of it. Drop it in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell. We are putting out a record on our new record label. Go check out the single, the video, the official video by Nordista Freeze is on our channel. You can also stream it on all the streaming platforms and tastelikerecords.com to buy the vinyl. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.